Moonlight. Chapter 2. Snowed In. Scootaloo found herself standing with her hooves buried in a thick blanket of snow, though they didn't feel cold in the slightest. Ahead of her, a towering castle rose up, with multiple spires so high above her that she had to crane her neck to see the peaks. There was something strangely familiar about the icy cliffs surrounding the base, and the sheer white walls, but she was pretty sure she'd never been anywhere like this when she was awake. There was no sun or moon in the pink sky, not even a single cloud. Even so, it was perfectly bright, and light glinted off the sides of the castle, shining from nowhere at all. Glancing back over her shoulder, there were no other landmarks visible. A featureless white plain stretched out in all directions until it met the horizon. Despite the odd landscape, it wasn't nearly as bad as anything Scootaloo had expected, considering Luna said this was a nightmare and all. She looked down at her hooves, which remained firmly planted in the snow, and forced herself to take the first step forwards. She was walking around in another pony's dream. The thought of that was strange. But other than the fact that no place like this could possibly exist in the real world, everything felt so real. "Is any pony here?" Scootaloo called out. There was no response. She trotted at a brisk pace towards the castle, kicking up snow as she went, as she passed between the cliffs until she reached the entrance. Once she was close to it, she noticed it wasn't really white at all. It was some kind of thick glass, or maybe ice. It didn't feel cold to the touch, but neither did the snow she'd been running on. She pressed her face up against the wall and found she could see some hazy, indistinct shapes through it. Pacing around the side, she found a tall archway set into the face, and a pair of double doors, of the same material as the rest of the structure. Scootaloo gave one door a gentle push, and it swung open effortlessly. "Hello?" Her voice echoed off everything, the walls, the ceiling. It was all chiselled out of the same smooth material. A sparkling chandelier hung over the staircase, winding up towards the rest of the tower. Even the benches and end tables against the walls appeared to be solid ice. Those couldn't be very comfortable. Scootaloo eyed the door behind her as she took a step inside. She almost expected it to slam shut, trapping her here, but it didn't move. "Guess the only way to go is up, then," she muttered. The stairs wound up in a spiral, higher into the tower, lined by perfectly smooth walls the whole way. The light from the outside refracted through the wall in shades of blue and pink. As she reached the landing at the top of the stairs, she stopped. It was a round, empty chamber with open archways leading out to a balcony overlooking the snowfield, but Somepony was standing just a few steps away from her, in the centre of the room, a filly, about her age, in a long frilly pink dress that trailed behind her on the floor. Despite the outfit, Scootaloo could have recognised her anywhere. "Sweetie Belle?" she said, a smile forming on her lips. She went up to meet her friend. "Ah, Scootaloo! So kind of you to visit," Sweetie Belle said, turning around. Scootaloo had heard that tone of voice before. It was the same one Sweetie Belle would use when she was imitating Rarity. The fancy dress and the tiara definitely looked like something Rarity would come up with. Scootaloo stopped dead in her tracks and stared at her. "What the... hey?" she muttered. "Is everything all right?" Sweetie Belle tilted her head. "No, I'm fine." "I sure am glad to see you," Scootaloo said. "But what is this place?" She stared up at the high walls, curving into an arched ceiling. Then she looked back at Sweetie. "What are you wearing?" "Why, this is the traditional dress of the Princess of the Crystal Empire, of course," Sweetie Belle said, still using the same fake accent. She gave a strange laugh. "Why would you ask such a silly question? You must be tired from your long trip." "The Crystal Empire?" Scootaloo glanced around the room. "I guess that explains why everything's so crystally. It is such a long train ride from Ponyville. How have you been? You have to tell me all that's been going on back home. Scootaloo stared at her blankly. What are you talking about? We were just in school together today. This is all just... Her voice trailed off when she noticed the look of confusion on Sweetie Belle's face. Maybe it would be best to play along for now. She quickly faked a grin and nodded enthusiastically. I mean, it sure was a long trip. All the way out here to the Crystal Empire. Sweetie appeared to be satisfied by the answer. She was acting so weird, but this was probably because she didn't realize she was asleep. As long as nothing really bad was happening, Scootaloo saw no problem with letting her enjoy the dream. And it totally made sense that Sweetie Belle would dream about the super girly princessy stuff. I've got it! Sweetie Belle clapped her hooves excitedly. Since you've came all the way out here, why don't you stay for a tea party? Tea party, Scootaloo said. She sighed. The way Princess Luna had been talking, she had been expecting to face a hydra, or a horde of zombie ponies, or dozens of other unimaginably horrifying creatures. Instead, she was being invited to a tea party. Whatever, this was Sweetie Belle's dream. And no pony had to know that Scootaloo had actually agreed to some namby-pamby tea party. Especially not Rainbow Dash. Sure, tea party. Why not? Sweetie Belle led her over to the small table in the centre of the room, which Scootaloo could have sworn was empty just a moment ago. A teapot and 2 cups were already set out and waiting for them. Taking a seat across from Sweetie Belle, Scootaloo hesitantly picked up one of the teacups. A small tendril of steam welled up, and she could actually feel the heat radiating from it. So what brings you to the Crystal Empire on this fine day? Sweetie Belle asked her. Well, Scootaloo took her first sip. It tasted surprisingly sweet. Actually, she was surprised to taste anything at all in a dream, though she wasn't even sure that this was tea. Actually, Princess Luna told me that she was worried about you. She said I should come check how you're doing. Princess Luna? Sweetie Belle cocked her head. For a moment, Scootaloo was worried she had said something wrong, but then Sweetie nodded. The suggestion appeared to fit in with Sweetie Belle's current state of mind. Tell her I appreciate her concern, but I'm quite all right. Sure looks like it, Scootaloo muttered. She glanced over at an open archway, which led out to a balcony overlooking the barren snowfields. This was quite some empire that Sweetie Belle was princess of, wasn't it? Across the table, Sweetie Belle sat contentedly sipping her tea. Scootaloo shifted around restlessly. If this was what the whole dream was going to be, she wasn't sure how she'd make it through the night. How about after this we take a look around, Scootaloo said. This is my first time in the Crystal Empire, after all. Of course, Sweetie Belle said. You've hardly even seen the castle yet. The castle's cool and all, but I meant the Crystal Empire. Scootaloo tried to think. Maybe if she put ideas into Sweetie's mind, they would appear, just like this table. I mean, I've even heard Rarity go on about how much he loves the crystal ponies. Sweetie's voice dropped low. Crystal ponies? And, Rainbow Dash told me about the stadium that we're going to have the Equestria Games. Where's that? Maybe you'd like to see the grand ballroom or the dining hall or something. Sweetie's accent was faltering. Come on, I mean, you're the princess. You can do whatever you want here. What's wrong with going out to do a whoa? Scootaloo's hooves suddenly went from under her and she collapsed onto the floor. Sweetie Belle didn't react. She just sat there, fidgeting nervously, her eyes darting at the table in front of her. I'm not sure what that just was, but let's go, Scootaloo said, pulling herself back up. You lead the way. Then it came again. The whole castle shook. Scootaloo was thrown to the floor again and couldn't get her footing until the tremor stopped. Snow began to blow from inside the windows. Sweetie Belle watched her, her face unreadable. I really think we should stay in the castle. There's a lot to do here, Sweetie said, her eyes darted around. Come on, let's go upstairs. Scootaloo braced herself against the table, ready for another shock. Maybe we really should get outside. Are these earthquakes? I don't remember hearing anything about the Crystal Empire getting earthquakes. I should show you my dressing room. I've got a whole lot more dresses and outfits in there. Want to see? Sweetie Belle said. Don't tell me you're not feeling these. Scootaloo couldn't finish the sentence before she was thrown to the side again, sliding towards the open balcony until she grabbed onto the leg of the table. Sweetie Belle did nothing. As Scootaloo hung onto the table, feeling herself being pulled down towards the window, she noticed that the teacup was sitting on its saucer. Not even a single drop had been spilled. Outside, the snow was swirling upwards, ran in circles rising towards the sky. The blizzard was getting violent. A brief thought flashed through Scootaloo's mind. It's falling up? Sweetie Belle, I think something's really going wrong. We need to get out of the... This time, Scootaloo felt the entire tower move. Desperately, she reached for something to grab onto, but she was sliding too fast. The floor had already gone completely vertical, and she was falling out towards the balcony and into the raging snowstorm. And that is the end of the chapter. Thanks for watching.